حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعص الله ورسوله فقد ضل غوى وإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. إن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وإن خير الأمور عوازمها والشر الأمور محدثاتها كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد يقول الله عز وجل في كتاب الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. ثم ما بعد. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him. We seek His assistance. And to Him and only Him do we turn in repentance. We seek the forgiveness of Allah for the evil of ourselves and for the evil of our actions. And whomsoever Allah guides, none can mislead. And whoever is led astray, there is no guide for him. And we testify that there is none worthy of worship except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we testify that Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the final beloved messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to Yawm al-Jum'ah, the best day of the week, on this 22nd day of Rabiul Awwal, 1,440 years after the hijrah of beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And it is my duty and obligation to remind you that I'm from amongst you, and by no means am I the best amongst you. And today I wanted to ask you a few questions. And the question is related to today's society, the society that we live in. If I told you there was a boy, and he wasn't born yet, and before even being born, his father had passed away. And if I told you at the age of 6, this boy now loses his mother. And if I told you that this boy now is being raised by his grandfather who passes away, and now he's being raised by his uncle and he passes away. He finally gets married and he has children, and of all his male children, they die away. And if I told you that his wife perishes, and then one of his uncle perishes, and another favorite uncle perishes, and constantly, and the people that he is amongst, these are the people that now do not believe him and mistrust him. They don't trust him, and they kick him out of his own hometown. And if I told you that he had to fight his own people that he grew up with, he grew up with these people. If I told you this, that he grew up with his own people, and these are the people that he now has to fight, and not only does he have to fight them, he has to basically either convert them or kill them in battle. If that's not enough, If I told you that this person now is going to be in a battle, and he himself is going to get hurt, after almost winning the battle, and then he eventually loses the battle, and he gets hurt in the battle. And constant struggles like this continue all of this time. Now I want to go back to the first question about the orphan. When this person, if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm talking about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at the age of 6, was a complete orphan. There was someone in the family to take care of him. I ask you, the first question today I ask you, is if there's an orphan amongst us, who amongst us will step up and rise and take care of that orphan, even from amongst our own families? First, let's start with our own families. If one of our nephews or nieces or grandchild or whatever, if he loses both of his parents, or she loses both of her parents, who will take care of that child? Who will take care of that child? That's my first question to you about being an orphan. But what I want you to concentrate on is about family relationships. What family relationships are about. Think about family relationships, and I want to take you to a specific incident in the Prophet ﷺ, and I specifically mentioned a part. And that part that I mentioned is about all of his male children expired. All of them died. Now I want you to think about this. This is the Prophet ﷺ. He has started the message. The message has gone to the mushrikun. Now they have ill feelings towards him. But the person from amongst family, Abu Lahab, his own uncle, finds out about the last son of the Prophet ﷺ passing away. And what does he do? This is a family member. He dances and rejoices. And he's dancing and he's laughing and he's going into the streets and he's doing this and that and the other. And what does he say? Muhammad is cut off. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is cut off. Why does he say this? He says this for 3 main reasons. Number one, he says he has no backing. Number one, his parents were never there to raise him. He was always raised by family, but the parents weren't there. Number two, when he was a merchant and he was a businessman, he would go and he would earn his own money and he was doing very well. But when the order came to him that he has to now invite the people to Islam, he gave up his employment and now he's working night and day inviting people to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and now he is poor. Meaning he doesn't have that same resource anymore. He's not devoted, so he doesn't have a lot of money behind him. There's no parents, no money. And now when you lose your children, all of us, even us today, think like, when we have children, hey, we want our children to go into the best fields. So if we are doing something, we're thinking, hey, I'm in a good field. I want my child to approach this field. Or we know we have a bad field. I want my child to not go anywhere near that field. Or we have businesses and we want to hand them down. Or we have properties and investments and we want to hand them down to our children. So when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam loses his final child, that's it. His name doesn't continue anymore. Even today, if I were to ask you, and I'm pretty sure there's some people in this room, and this is a sign of ignorance inside yourself, that if you have a daughter and not a son, there's a frown on the face. And that's not. So if when everybody wasn't having daughters and all we had was men, civilization would end. So even when we think about this, when his final son has passed away, Abu Lahab said a statement. What hurts most, if it was someone he didn't know, it wouldn't have hurt as much, but his family. Now I ask you this next question. How many times have family said something to us that hurts us more than if a person outside of the family had said it? Think about it all the time. And I hear it. I hear it in my own family and I hear it from other people's other families. And what do they say? So for example, if a person can't get married, I wonder what's wrong with him. I wonder what's wrong with her. If a couple has been married for a number of years now, I wonder what's wrong with him. I wonder who has the problem, he or she. Right? And we do this constantly. We're like taking oil and putting it onto the fire and creating. The person is already self-aware that there's a situation. And we are taking this situation and trying to make it even broader and worse. So I ask you this question. Who amongst us has this ignorance? Amongst us in our own heads and minds and souls, where we are thinking that this person and that person has all these problems. And how do we cure this issue? To cure the issue is very simple. Stay quiet. It's none of your business. Something is happening. You can help. If you can't help, stay out of it. It's as simple as so much so that this event causes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So everybody knows that Surah Al Kawthar is revealed because of this incident. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals Surah number 108. Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar. Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar. Ya Rasulullah, we've already given you Al-Kawthar. In the absolute, indeed, verily, and when you go into the Arabic of this a'tayna, it's in the past tense, which means it is a finite time. It cannot be changed. It can be changed, but it's already been given. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him Al-Kawthar. What does that mean for us? For example, if you're in the property business, the sign, the deed, everything has been signed off on. The only thing that we are waiting for is Yawm al-Qiyamah, the date of closing. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam will receive Al-Kawthar. Al-Kawthar is his. What is Al-Kawthar? What is Al-Kawthar? And why does he receive Al-Kawthar? It's a river in paradise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he's saying that I'm not displeased with you. Meaning you're thinking in your heart you must have done something wrong. What has happened? Why is my son gone? Even we see the human side of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because even he cried on that day when he lost his son. He cried. Any man or any woman that loses a child, whether it be this age or that age, and extremely gray, if your mother and your parents are still alive, you're in your 50s and 60s and 70s, your parents are older than you, even at that time they feel sorrow. They're going to have that tear in their eye. Because that relationship between a parent and a child is a very important relationship. As I mentioned before, the backing of the parents is extremely important. Even when we hear about people coming up, my father is always working and totally neglects me. Even if you know that your dad will be home at the end of the night, my brother or my sister, even if you know that your mother is working and she's going to be home at the end of the night, at least you have parents. At least you have parents. Be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has not left you without parents. How many times have I seen an orphan child go into a home and he always says, he always does it, but a lot of times they say that if my mother was alive or if my father was alive, this wouldn't have happened. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What he received, he received. In terms of education, as you know, unable to read or write. You think if his parents were alive, they would send him to read or write or not? This is the grand plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the grand plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He has given Al-Kawthar. What is Al-Kawthar? It's a river in paradise. It is one of the most beautiful things that you can ever see. It is more white than milk. It is sweeter than honey. The smell of the fragrance is better than musk. It has these birds in their long necks like carrots. Long necks. Anybody who eats from that bird in Jannah, anybody who eats, the Prophet said that person will become more beautiful. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. Al-Kawthar. If you take Al-Kawthar means an abundance of good. And again, if you go into the Arabic of the word, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the word, that means the best of the best in terms of goodness. If it was just kathar, it's just good, it's plenty. But if it was kathir, it's more. But Al-Kawthar, it's more than you can think of. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of good and abundance that will come. Ya Rasulullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we're not displeased with you. We're not displeased with you. We didn't take your son away because we're displeased with you. Everything, your end is, your life is set and your end is set. Your life is set and your end is set. We've given you this in Jannah. It's already there, it's yours. Meaning it's for you, and the only thing that you need to do is come and take it. Don't worry about these people. You know what the other thing that the Prophet ﷺ had to go through? Think about this. I'm going to break it down for you. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded the Prophet ﷺ to spread the message, to spread it amongst everyone, even Abu Lahab, even now, he has said something. Think about it. What is in your heart with your own brother or sister, whoever who says this about you, or your uncle, your aunt, and they say, do you want to see this person? Or not? We're human beings. We don't want to, you hear that your relative has said something poor about you, you don't want to see the Prophet ﷺ still had to go and give this person the invitation to come and accept Islam. Every person who agreed with this person and agreed with Abu Lahab, he still had to go and give this message to this person. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the extreme patience that he's shown us. The extreme patience that he's shown us. This patience is something that we don't display today. We're irrational. We get extremely upset for little things. And yet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, time after time after time, has shown this consistent level of patience. This is something that we need to learn. The Prophet ﷺ, when he says that he's pleased with him, he's given the Prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has linked him with himself. Even now, a few minutes ago, we gave the adhan. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Right? We testify that there's no way but Allah. And right after that testification, we testify again. Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has linked the Prophet ﷺ with him. Whenever we say Quran, we always say Sunnah right afterwards. Whenever we think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we know the best way to get through and to him is through Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us to send the salah and salam upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is the extreme. So who is cut off? Who is cut off fast? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we're not displeased with you, we are still pleased with you, but remain thankful. فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. Always remain thankful and sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you make salah, make it for Allah. Not to show off. In the surah before, in Surah Ma'un, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمَ. Who are these people? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the hypocrisy of the people who don't believe in the day of Qiyamah. What simple things. These are people, وَلَا يَحُطُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. These are people, first they disregard the orphans. There's ones that, فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمَ وَلَا يَحُطُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. They disregard the orphans, and they don't care about feeding and taking care of the poor people. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed them with some resources, what do most people think? I worked for it. It was my blood, sweat, and tears. Being extremely unthankful. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. And so woe to the people who pray. And what do they pray? They pray neglectfully. What do? They either delay their prayers, or they are not very mindful of their prayers. Or, when they do pray, they pray to show off. They pray to show off. They pray to show off. They want to show everybody else that they're praying. And that's another problem. And وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَعُونَ. The person is the littlest things, the easiest things to give out. If I told you today, we don't think it was a big deal. But I had a colleague of mine that I worked with for years. And they said, one of the things that amazes you about the world today. He goes, in my time, and he retired a couple of years ago. And he says, in my time, water, just a glass of water, was something that you just gave to a person. It was never something that you put a price on. Never something that you put a price on. What have we done today? Because we're industrialized or modernized. If you're thirsty today, you have to go and buy a bottle of water. Or you have to find a park and make sure that there's a functioning fountain. Right? That's the only time you may get something free, or if you want to drink some dirty water, you can dive into the Hudson River and try to grab some water. But water, he said, having a price on water was something weird and something amazing. So now I'm thinking to myself, how we've become a commercialized universe, commercialized civilization, where we don't really care about anything. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيَمْنَ الْمَعُونَ. Something that's very simple, something very easy to give out, something that you can give. If somebody says, can I get $1 so I can go get something to eat? Are you going to give them the $1 because you don't know what they're doing? But what if you just grab that person by the hand and say, come, you want something to eat? I'm going to go eat too. You come with me, I'll give you a meal too. That's the way to do it. Not handing out dollar bills and giving them a sense of false hope downstairs or anywhere you go. Nobody should be putting any money into that. You should not if you're thinking that you're helping the problem, all you're doing is creating a bigger problem. There's going to be more people begging outside. So you should, if that person is hungry, or if that person needs their rent to be paid, take them and have them help. Get them the help that they need. So pray to your Lord sincerely, only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you don't pray to anyone. I was watching some videos. I'm sure if you were not living under a rock and you have a phone of some sort, you see everything that's taking place in California with the fires just spreading everywhere. And finally contained them to some extent. But people have shared videos. They are driving through the fire. Wallahi, I saw one of these videos. The lady's driving through the fire. And I'm not sure how this phone is pointing outwards. If she's holding the phone in her hand and she's trying to drive through 2 lanes of fire on both sides, and the fire, pieces of fire or whatever it is falling on top of her car, and she's driving through this. And she says, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. The whole time, she's crying. Oh God, oh God, oh God, help me. Just, God, help me, get me through this. Oh God, I don't know. Like, just constantly, 2 or 3 minutes of video, and all you see is, all you hear is just fire on both sides, and she's just screaming. Why the imagery of this? Can you just imagine the fire of hell being on both sides and you're in the middle of this? This video should remind you that there is truth after this world. There's a video that shows you this burning. You get a little burn from the stove. How much does it hurt? When the entire forest is on fire, how much heat should take it into that car? Just think about it. This life is real. This life is real. It hurts. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went through the pains and torture of this life, but he knew that there was another life after this that is more meaningful. And this is why he kept on being steadfast and sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not only through his salah, but also through the sacrifice. Through the sacrifice. And who do we know of the prophets amongst the greatest who had tried to sacrifice? We know our Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. And we celebrate Yom Eid al-Adha based on that sacrifice. And what is that sacrifice all about? Sacrificing truly for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. Constant prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We had given you a khutbah a few months ago, maybe even almost a year ago now, where I reminded you that every prophet, the first command that they received was to establish the prayer. So much so that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the gift, the treasure of the prayer was something that was given to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in person in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, behind a veil of light, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the 5 prayers, equivalent to 50, as you know the story, going back and forth, up and down, left and right. And finally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says 5 prayers. 5 prayers, the reward is equivalent to 50 prayers. This is the beauty of Islam. All the other religions, they're looking for some structure of this nature. They have nothing. We have salah. This is a connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another video I want to talk about is, you think about it. This person is in a hospital bed, from head to toe, covered in IVs and blood pressure machines and everything, and he's got things to help him breathe, and he still has his eternal love. If this person, who is from head to toe covered, he can't even move, and if he can pray, what is nothing less than this? This is the lowest level of gratitude, sincerity to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by making the constant prayer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Making the prayers. And who was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? When it was about him, he always said, my ummah. He was always worried about us. He always wanted to make sure that we didn't have difficulty. He did things so they didn't become a burden upon us. He did things to help us out. He loses his son today, we know, and even years after that, they knew right away why he lost his son. If he is Khatam al-Nabiyyin, if he is a seal of the prophets, if he is the absolute last prophet, can his son remain alive? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just think about what happened just to his grandchildren. An entire sect formed out of his grandchildren. Can you imagine what would happen if his son stayed alive? Then he's not Khatam al-Nabiyyin. Then he would not be the last prophet. So Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When we say his name, we should always say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Always say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Constant salah and prayer and thanks to the Prophet alayhi sallam for everything that he has done for us. That is the least thing that you can do. The most miserly person on the face of the planet is the one who just doesn't utter these two words. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Constantly remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that we will stand before. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it not too easy and not too difficult for us. It's somewhere in between. Because He doesn't burden the soul more than it can handle. He doesn't burden the soul more than it can handle. So it's going to be somewhere in between. Sometimes it's going to be easy, sometimes it's going to look extremely hard, but a lot of times we're going to be in the middle ground. And if you're able to walk the middle ground and constantly stay sincere and patient and constantly praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then making that sacrifice for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to understand our religion and implement it in our lives. وَقُولُ قَوْلِ هَذَا وَاسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهَ لِي وَلَكُمْ وَلِسَائِرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ إِنَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعد. Not only did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say that He is pleased with the Prophet ﷺ and stay sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then He says, whoever is your enemy, inna shani'aka wal abtar. Whoever hates you, whoever is your enemy, know that that's the person that's going to be cut off. Think about it today. Besides Abu Lahab, what do we else know about him? The only thing that we know about him, that he was a rotten person. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has subjected him to the fire of hell for eternity. And everyone who is going to represent that type of hatred is going to be cut off. Completely cut off. Completely cut off. This is the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I remind you today, when you hear the hatred, when you hate hatred against Islam, and specifically Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, just remember this surah. It's a 3-line surah, 3-ayah surah, not even 2 full lines if you wrote it out on a piece of paper, but it has great meaning. And remember, it means that whoever has taken a war against the Prophet ﷺ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of it. So much so, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala, he describes a story amongst the righteous people. And these Muslim armies, when they used to gather and they used to surround the city, or they used to surround the castle, they knew, and they were there for days and sometimes weeks and months at a time, and they thought that it was about time to give up now because they're running out of supplies and stuff. And then they would hear that these people have started to curse the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They knew right away, now we don't need to leave. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to grant us victory in a few hours or a few days. And it's exactly what used to happen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said about Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to be linked. Atiyu Allah wa atiyu Rasul. Obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then obey Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And everyone who follows him, those are the ones that we consider our imams and khatibs, the ones who follow the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in accordance with the sunnah of beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So remember, Ikhwan Islam, whenever you hear this talk of hatred, know and realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to protect it. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a beautiful gift for the Prophet ﷺ in Jannah, but that's just one piece of it and so much more. That's what we're saying. Kawthar, it's not just the river, but it's everything with the river that comes with it. You're not just going to have a river, you're going to have palaces and places and trees and birds and animals and food and water and everything that you thought that you could not have. You're going to have more. This is what Al Kawthar is, that whoever follows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follows Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that he's going to get more and more and more. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us and accept us and make it easy for us and allow us to have the Kawthar as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept you. all our deeds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us, make it easy for us. All Muslims that are suffering all over the world, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala get them out of trouble. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. اللهم لا تجعلنا من القوم الظالمين. اللهم لا تجعلنا فتنة للقوم الظالمين. اللهم تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. اقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.